Okay, so Sultai storm the festival. We've got Rootcoil Creeper and Tangled Florahedron and Prosperous Innkeeper here to ramp up into powerful 4 and 5 mana spells that we then leverage even further with Storm the Festival to kind of have a collected company like card advantage type thing. We are playing some blue mana, so we have some Alrund Epiphanies of our own with the blue mana, as well as plenty of counter spells out of the sideboard here so we can attempt to be competitive against the other Epiphany decks in the format. We've got some sweepers like Meathook Massacre and Shadow's Verdict out of the sideboard to try and keep up against the aggressive deck. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this and see how it goes. You know, I almost picked up the Deadpool costume as well. They actually had one of those there. But I felt like I didn't want to do 2 superheroes. I felt like 2 spandex suits in a week was too much. So I've got some other costumes for the next 2 days that are not spandex suits. Sure. I feel like all 3 of our colors of mana plus a 2-mana accelerant is usually a keep. Shadow the Stowaway here. Drop a Hive. All blue land Stowaway. Some kind of tempo-y deck. Okay, these sleeves are kind of gas. Loot away, little stowaway. Loot till your heart's content. Do we wish chat was an arena? No, I've met human beings. So very much have no desire for arena to have a chat function. Chariot phases back in, still crude. I think that's correct, actually. It is not correct. What a tilter. Close race here. Spectral Adversary is very good. The white-blue tempo deck from Worlds. Very good at leveraging that card. Yeah, we're just dead, right? I mean, the opponent's deck is very good when it draws a bunch of threats. The problem is their deck is super threat light, and post-board, most decks, he says, looking at his deck and realizing it's not really the case, have more removal spells. So, like, their threat-like deck gets quite a bit worse post-board against a lot of things. Honestly, Hermit's probably pretty good here, huh? Our deck's a little bit on the clunkier side the way this is constructed. Even we still have the ability to board down a bit here. Having 2 Spectral Adversaries in their top 15 cards is also pretty fortunate. That won't happen every game. That was pretty instrumental in them being able to race us. I mean, even this deck, we had what? We had 3 cheaper removal spells to board in here? And they're not boarding in more threats. So like even our deck that's obviously constructed without thinking about this mono blue deck at all has a sideboard constructed in a way that's able to make their deck worse post board. Do I still play Raid? I do not. I finished basically everything in that game. The PvP endgame kind of lacks depth. My off-stream gaming time is almost entirely Unite these days. Game has its hooks in deep. It's very good. Thanks for the follow, Sitharos. I have no idea what that is, Kenzie, so no. Probably gets the front half of Hermit. I think that's fine. 3 mana for 3 mana. Tempo even trade. Or they're going to send in Spirit, almost assuredly. I know what I'm about to say sounds a little strange, but something that I've definitely found is that I enjoy Magic more as a game when I play games that also aren't Magic. I think when Magic's like the only game that you play, and I think this is kind of true of any game, I think being all in on a single thing makes it so much harder to be able to disconnect from the terrible things that like the company's inevitably going to do. Like I think a lot of the kind of toxic culture on like, oh, and like it's really easy to feel like it's the end of the world when like Wizards does something that's stupid, when like Magic's the only thing in your life that's your hobby. Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. When you're all in on a single hobby, it's often easy to tie your self-worth to your experience in that hobby, which I agree is unhealthy. Yeah, I think I'm happy with how I boarded. Let's just run it back. Our Malevolent Hermits were very good there, obviously. It's fine. Doesn't have any blue mana technically to start, but it's got some removal spells that are Wrenn and Seven. Nailed it. Never didn't have it. We just pass here. You want to make them counterspell to fight over their thing on their turn here. Then we can hopefully untap and stick Binding or Wrenn. Get a job, you lazy werewolf. I think I just take this opportunity to kill their stowaway. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I was referring to how decks like this opponent's deck get worse in these post-board games. Like, not only do they get worse because of how I'm able to sideboard in these games, but decks like the opponent's deck get worse when your opponent gets to mulligan intelligently. Like, the fact that I know that my opponent's playing a tempo deck, so I get to mulligan knowing that I need cheap removal spells is a huge deal. Yeah, I definitely think decks like the opponents are better as best of one. So, I'm choosing to play Wrenn and Seven here while they're tapped out, because we know Koma's gonna resolve. So saving Koma for a turn when they have mana and counter spells potentially available is much better, even though this is slightly less resource efficient this turn. The old +1 draw 3, you'll love to see it. Thunk. They could have Divide by 0 here. They do not. Could have an unsummon, yep. We're just cashing this Wrenn in for a token here. Just put some pressure on their number of feeding hopes they have. Now it's a visual bug. Opponent's card is supposed to be in play. Just once it's phased out, it keeps the icon on it. It's not a phase, Mom. I really like this circle now. I'm keeping it forever. You can't make me change. Is my hope fading, or are we good to go? Hey, thanks for the 2 months, Admar. Happy Wednesday. Crunch. Yeah, do we just, like, massacre their fam here? I think that's probably wrong. I'm just gonna Innkeeper in Koma. Yikes, Manu. Do they plan to continue missing the deadline, or are they just done and out? Yeah, good. Goodbye, friends. Might as well get my free 1 point in here. Yeah, that's what all the stats say, Rion. The number of people who actually, like, quit over vaccine mandates are very small. And the more vaccine mandates that happen, the even less people will quit. Because, like, the people that are quitting really can't go get jobs other places because, at least not in their field especially, because most fields that are mandating the vaccine, like, it's an industry thing. It's not just a single company thing. Ah, yes, Florida. Ah, Florida. Back in the pre-plague times, Christy and I had actually discussed looking at Dallas and Atlanta as places to move because her company has things there that she could work at. And man, am I glad we decided to stay in Illinois the way everything shook out with COVID. Moving to Texas would have been awful. Thanks for the 14 months, Fall Not Dead. Well, I guess we'll keep this. Yeah, relocating is not cheap, Rion. Not in the slightest. It is an expensive and time-consuming process. We're just making land drops. My sister's anti-vax boyfriend has moved on to asteroid and meteor conspiracies. I don't think I want to know. And calls himself God send help. Yikes. We're supposed to play around Jawari Disruption there. Doing nothing for the turn seems really bad, though. Hook up the cats here. Yep. Crunch. This is Ward 4, right? So if we draw an untapped land, we can Binding it. I think Den of the Bugbear is the best AFR creature land. They're all pretty playable, but I think Den of the Bugbear is a little bit of a cut above. Ugh. Weird. Where are we crewing on my turn? Just because? I think I'm throwing away an Innkeeper to gain 4 here. Storm the Festival is our best draw at this point. But he's got 6 cards in hand and hasn't been hitting land drops, so I assume we're probably dead here. Waiting for them to cast a bunch of Time Walks, right? Shadow's Verdict sounds good here. Tusky and Koma seem fine. I think I'm cutting the Innkeepers. I want like higher threat density in my deck. No, I cut the eye holes out. Well, we don't know that they're on Epiphany. They're obviously playing a brew. They could just be playing the copy spells for like their Siphon Insights to be cheeky. Also, like, their deck has a lot of non-instants and sorcery cards that seem important, so getting stuck with a bunch of Test of Talents in hand seems not great. Hitting our land drops with all these bombs in hand seems great. Play around Jawari Disruption for now. Lead binding here. Gamash, thank you for the 3 entire years of support. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Come on, Kenny Pizza. Thanks for the 2/3 of a year. What kind of toppings are on Kenny Pizza? A Soul Shatter this turn. We'll go ahead and pass so we can have just 2 Soul Shatters in case they counter the first one. Only good ones. Good answer. Yeah, the longer subs like yours, like Amash, they scroll through all the way up. Looks real good. We're gonna Soul Shatter in response here for in case they have a counter spell. This way they don't get a token with Sedgemoor. New Guardian, thanks for the 2 months. Welcome back. All right, we totally just stormed the festival, right? Hey, Durka, thanks for the over 2.5 years. Welcome back.
I will protect these forests as if they were my own. Trees can fight their own battles.
Double spell this turn to play around counter magic, ideally.
Come closer, little thing, that I may see better.
That's interesting. Yeah, storing the Festival of Bricking does help ramp into flashing itself back, which is nice. Thanks for the follow, Matty Griff. Alright, so they're out of cards in hand. I have tokens that can block their 4/4 or their Sedgemoor. Wit to go. Thank you for the 14 months. Welcome back. All right, I think I trade with the witch.
We may bend.
I will not cry like a meek little thing. Subservience will. We will slay our enemies.
Power grows with tender repair.
Let's get some defense up here for Wrenn and Seven. We'll go ahead and attack with this Hive as well here. Force them to use their graveyard card. Hive of the Eye Tyrant and Spider-Man have a lot in common, chat. They're both a menace.
We can foster much growth.
Now that's more like it, shit. It's garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Well, that's kind of cute. Let's them draw a second card each turn now. Thanks for the follow, Mari.
Trees are mighty.
Well, as long as they don't cast 4 Epiphanies here and kill us, we're in a good spot. That's a good catch on the double Hive activation. You're super right. I think I want the go blank because there are things that lean on the graveyard. From Toski, a little slow. Alright. Okay. Now, the number of misses you could have in your deck for a given thing like Storm the Festival depends on a lot of factors, such as like how bad is your failure rate. So like Storm the Festival, for example, can have more misses than something like Collected Company, because when Storm the Festival misses, it's typically still hitting lands, and lands give you more shots to do the flashback, which is nice. We're just passing with Bloodline Culling up here. I really don't want to play Culling into their counter unless they pay 4 card. I think we're just chilling. Think I care about Egg more than Predator here. It's definitely close though. I guess Predator threatens to exile Storm the Festival from my graveyard, which is not nothing. I think we're just headed to the Space Jam now. Like, good chance to see it's a counter spell, but like, I think that's fine. We get to like drop Koma next turn through a counter spell. And threaten Epiphany for the turns after, all while beating down with the Chariot. Double Scry Top's a little scary. So we didn't crew the Chariot in attack because they could block with Predator, sack the token to make this a 5/5 and indestructible to eat my Chariot. I don't think it's worth trading. This is a viewer submitted deck list. So like have strong thoughts or opinions on the details that it's playing and why. That's a nice draw. To kill the egg, and then I have untapped land here to fire up Hive for the Eye Tyrant. Like if they want to sack this to this taps this, so they get to exile my Storm the Festival, but now I get to hit them for 9 here inside of combat and exile their Siphon Insight. Feels like this game's probably over. Hey, well, welcome back, tutors. Thanks for the 2.5 years. We'll grab their flashback card here. They are down to 7. Not my queen!
I'm hungry. Won't you stay? My will cannot be denied.
Hey, Slam Dunksville. Thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. So, target this. And then if they want to save it, they have to tap it. And then we get to fire up the Hive and smash them.
Do what I demand.
I think our opponent has just forgotten that the Storm the Festival is technically in our graveyard. The way Arena displays it here. So they're technically dead on board, right? So let's just attack. They have a removal spell for Hive. They go to 1 here.
I will.
I was not gonna do it. I agree, Juka. I think Lolth is one of the better Planeswalker designs we've seen in recent years. It's very, very, very good. Well, that's interesting, Hamahud. I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah, it seems fine. This deck kind of feels like it has similar problems to the green-black rock deck we played a couple of games with yesterday and ended up bailing out on, where these decks with all of these Innkeepers and Rootcoil Creepers and our other 2-mana accelerant, they kind of feel like they simultaneously have too many lands, but also not enough at the same time. Like, you need to play a lot of mana to hit your drops consistently. And then, in order to do that in the mid to late game, you tend to flood out somewhat consistently because you just have so many mana sources. Intel's newest CPUs aren't hot garbage. What do they do that's meaningfully different from the existing Intel CPUs? Why would I care about the new ones as a consumer? Riddle me this. Get in the hole, Mr. Creeper. Just Lolthing and making some friends here, huh?
My children drench their hands, and I will cull the weak.
Augur of Autumn. The problem with Augur of Autumn is it's just not like a particularly powerful card. It's relatively individually weak.
A setback. Nothing more. And a gift. In exchange
Really,
for
it
loyalty.
really isn't Courser of Crufix. Courser having a bigger booty and gaining you life was so good. Okay, so we'll crew this in response so they can't attack. Kinda just hoping to draw lands here sometime soon. AMD is just better. Listen, them's fighting words around these parts. In consideration to copying the treasure? Nah, I don't think so. I just played Rootcoil Creeper to have like an additional mana. Tangletrap kills Redain. We did a lot with only 3 lands, is accurate. This is definitely an Epiphany and Unnatural Growth out matchup. Honestly, this probably isn't a matchup where I need Storm the Festival. Here's a technical question that I don't know the answer to offhand. A lot of the progress and improvements around a lot of chips these days have been related to just like having more cores, right? Has the average consumer application actually gotten better at utilizing multiple cores to make the application meaningfully faster? The last time I was really into all that stuff, that just like wasn't the case. That's absolutely not, especially not in games. Yeah, that was, yeah, multi-threading is hard to do well, is my understanding of it. So a lot of people just don't bother. And hardware is fast enough that like you could just like, okay, say just get faster hardware. Yeah, their tempo on the play here is huge. It's truly a brutal Cathar is accurate. I think we're dead, fam. Chrome is very multi-threaded. Well, Chrome is like kind of multi-threaded by the virtue of its individual processes, right? Like Chrome, like every tab in Chrome's an individual process, so it's pretty easy to split that up across multiple cores on your processor. I think there's anything we're gonna do different in terms of sideboarding here. We'll just be on the play this game and hopefully not get tempoed to hell and back. You solved the first problem with threading, and now you have 2 problems. Mood. Listen, Silence. Windows can't even handle giving me tabs in my can't even handle giving me tabs in my file manager. You expect me to trust it to schedule tasks appropriately to my different cores on my processor? I think we kill Lumiarch here. Then they'll take Binding, and then we'll top deck hopefully a, top deck a removal spell here to play it next turn. I mean, that's technically a removal spell. We just don't have a thing for it. Yikes. They have another Spellbinder or Redain here. We're in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Fall into my web again.
Cricket, thanks for the sub-gifties. That's incredibly generous of you. Happy Wednesday. So far, I feel pretty whelmed by this deck. We're gonna give it another match or two, but I feel like after playing this, I understand why decks like this aren't particularly popular. Our deck feels like it's simultaneously smaller and less over the top than the Epiphany decks, while also being too clunky to keep up with the aggressive decks. Yeah, I like the design on Ward a lot. I hope that it becomes closer to the norm. Yikes. Yeah, multitasking obviously sees a big increase in performance. You get a rematch against White Aggro here. See if we're clunky for the second time in a row. Our start here is pretty reasonable. We're gonna have Desert Doom next turn, he says, before getting Spellbindered. I think I say no blocks here because if they have a way to exile the other one, I wouldn't be able to play my Desert Doom. Nice, and that does not make this more expensive. No, I actually really love the wards that discard. I think wards that discard is a really elegant way to make a creature generate value without having to give it an enters the battlefield effect. I think that's super strong and sweet. All right, one removal spell, please, deck. Redain's about to be a thick god, chip. Okay. Okay. You can bind her up next turn. Binding the old gods on Redain seems like a solid flavor slam dunk. Yikes. Yikes. And again, like, this opponent's start, we were on the play, we had an accelerant, and their start wasn't even really very good. And we're still just, like, kinda getting dumpstered here, huh? Oh, I'm dead on board, right? They put the thing on one of their other things, they pump the other one, and then they have a 4-3, a 3-3, and a 3-3. And I block one and I take 6 exactly. So we're dead on board. Let's see if they see that we're dead on board. Swinging a lethal miss here. Nope. Think it's gonna matter because our hand's pretty mediocre, but oh, it can't be blocked by blue. Good stuff. By good stuff, I mean, ow! Leave the Grafted's out this time. This felt kind of clunky. Leave the Storm the Festival's in. I feel like Storm the Festival is what Aetherworks Marvel should have been. Unplayable. Hermit to come up the board. I could see that. And they like just cast a Redeem this turn and make us cry silently. And by silently, I mean very loudly. We've got multiple Bomb Diggities here. So we get to make a good play next turn regardless of the Spellbinder. They leave us Wrenn and Seven. It could signify they have a Brutal Cathar.
The forest will be overrun.
They do not. You debating on trading here? Same deal. What's going on, Toxic? Thanks for the half a year. Welcome back. So, I think we binding the portable hole here because it gives us enough power to crew the Chariot, and then it also gives us enough mana to play Wrenn and Seven next turn. Seems like a strong play. Well, shit. Kind of theses are written for mathematics degrees. It depends on what school you go to, what requirements that they have. I think this is a command. Typing in a spandex suit is hard. There we go. This is a link to the paper I wrote at the culmination of my graduate degree. They called it more of a project than a thesis, but I don't know if there's too big of a difference, but I can't really speak to the experience at other schools. That paper was the last time we ever touched latex, chat. Never again. Latex is great, you take that back. Latex is awful, and people have Stockholm Syndrome telling themselves that it's good. Y'all need some help. The amount better. So it's not even that latex is that bad. Like I write software. Like I wrote software for a long time. The problem with latex is latex doesn't give you meaningfully better results for the amount of effort you have to put into using it compared to using what you see as what you get editors. Like it's not that it's a bad product, it's that it just doesn't give you a meaningfully better end product for the amount of effort you have to put into using it. For the non-science tech people, latex is a latex, not latex, like my spandex suit. Latex is a typesetting application that's used in science fields quite regularly. We're not talking about my spandex gloves here and my Spider-Man suit. Feel like I want just like some other cheap removal. The white matchup does not seem good, and I have to imagine, I guess these are probably better in the green matchup than the white matchup. Let's chill for now. Thought Jeff had a secret cosplay life. Listen, chat. If I was really into cosplay, it wouldn't be secret. We could monetize that. My sub is old enough to vote for deck selection now. Something like that. Thanks for the 1.5 years, Neil. Thanks for the tier 2. Gorilla suit. Wait till you see what we're wearing tomorrow. I think I like 1-for-1ing Meathook Massacre here. Cuts off their acceleration. I think I like doing this more than Soul Shattering because they're likely a Goldspan Dragon deck, so saving Soul Shatter for later has value. I don't intend to play Modern anytime soon, Juka. Howling Mine wasn't really playable the last time I played it in Modern, and Modern's gotten more brutal and fast since then. Also, like, I've looked at a bunch of top Modern decks recently, and it's like dual decks Ragavan versus Teferi Time Raveler, which sounds like an absolute shit show of a format. Almost everyone I've talked to recently has basically been like, yeah, look, Jeff, I love Modern and I play a ton of it, and it sucks right now, so like... Very, very little desire to poke into that. Yeah, and apparently one of the top decks on Moto right now costs like $2,000 to build a digital copy of. the old $2,000 digital Magic deck. Listen, the Magic Arena economy has problems, chat, but it's not $2,000 for an Omnath pile of Magic cards problems, okay? We got 99 problems, but $2,000 decks aren't one. I think we're dead, fam. Heat hook off the top, one-time dealer. Honestly, even if we draw our second Meathook here, they're like still have Ranger's class on level 3. I just keep like staring down at this handful of clunky expensive spells in these matchups and dying. Does not feel good, man. I mean, having a bunch of creature accelerants and boarding up extra sweepers has also felt like awkward tension. Solitude is $80 to $90 for a digital copy. Wonder if we go back and look at the course of this set. How many games have we won this set off of our deck's core game plan being good versus just like Esika's Chariot single-handedly picking our clunky deck up and carrying it on its back? Yeah, the Magic Online economy is fundamentally broken. It does not work. So 27 months CYX. Welcome back. Personally, chat, I am shocked that the free spells they printed into Modern have ended up being too good. This is my surprised face that the cycle of free spells they printed had ended up being very good. Honestly, no way they could have avoided it. In response here. Honestly here, even if we draw a land, I'm pretty sure playing the second Chariot is better than playing Storm the Festival. What if we storm and get 2 Chariots though? Big brain. Paper Solitude is almost $70. Yeah, and honestly, that price is only going to go up too, right? Because like places are starting to hold tournaments again. So like there's a good chance like with SCG having their invitational coming back and like things like Nerd Rage going back up that you see paper prices start to increase as demand starts to increase organically as people look to play with these cards for the first time in paper. I mean, honestly, hats off to Wizards of the Coast in general. You know, for a long time, people always touted Modern as, you know, it's cheaper to play than Standard. You buy your one deck and you just play your one deck forever. And WotC was like, hold my beer, this won't be cheaper than Standard for long. Yeah, exactly, Neru. They just, like, did this cycle of constantly invalidating the decks that people have. Think supply will increase? I don't know. At least Pioneer is cheaper. I am legitimately excited for the prospect of Pioneer coming to Arena at some point. I think that sounds potentially very exciting. I didn't want to play Wrenn and Seven this turn because the token would have only been a 4/4. Chat, it's their turn to have all the Cadillacs. We will 100% get Pioneer as its own queue on Magic Arena. That's not an if, it's a when. We will eventually have Pioneer on this platform. It's coming, chat. A lot of people decided to infer from the announcement that they were pulling the plug on Pioneer Masters to mean that Pioneer wasn't coming to Arena. And that's not what pulling the plug on Pioneer Masters meant, chat. The only reason they pulled the plug on Pioneer Masters was because they figured out a more profitable way to monetize bringing Pioneer to Arena. Is what happens. I mean, if you think Historic will just feel like Pioneer Plus, I'd really encourage you to go look at some recent Pioneer results and look at some recent Historic results. The formats are meaningfully very different. They always break their promises. What a fucking stupid thing to say. Listen, chat, there are so many legitimate things to complain about that Wizards of the Coast does that you invalidate legitimate complaints by saying things that are objectively bullshit, like they always break their promises. If you think that's the case, I'd encourage you to go do a reality check, because you clearly need one. For people that want to be stupid and lazy and not look up their history, Magic the Gathering Online started as a standard-only platform. I would bet significant amounts of money that this platform will eventually have every format in Magic. It won't be next year, it won't be 5 years from now, but a decade from now, I expect Magic Online will be retired and we'll just be playing Magic Arena. It took them a long time to get Legacy and Vintage on Magic Online. And actually, Magic the Gathering Online is missing cards that are legal in Vintage and Legacy. So technically, even Magic the Gathering Online does not support Vintage and Legacy, chat. And it's 20 years old. So, like, take a deep breath, take a chill pill, look at reality, stop with the bullshit conspiracy theories.
Aren't I generous?
Yeah, exactly what Viper said. The only reason they won't add all the formats if they determine the cost point is something to do would be higher than the money gained from it, and like they make a ton of money from these reprint sets. The reason why Pioneer Masters was axed was because they saw how successful Amonkhet Remastered was and how successful Kaladesh Remastered was, and they're like, well, shit, we can't just do one Pioneer Remaster. We gotta do Innistrad Remastered, and we gotta do Ravnica Remastered, and they want to pump money out of the players for all of these individual block remasters, not just one format remaster. Like, the reason why they bailed on a generic Pioneer Remastered is because they saw dollar signs with these other ones. All of their decisions are profit-driven, chat. Magic Arena exists solely to take money out of your pocket and transfer it to Wizards of the Coast shareholders. A lot of people like to act like their decisions don't make sense, but trust me, their decisions make good sense. You might not like what their decisions mean, but they're making decisions based on good data. Like, to give you a clear example too, let's ban list management. Wizards of the Coast, someone there determined that it's more profitable to manage formats less frequently, and that's why we don't get regular ban list updates. Why they're very hesitant to do that. And I personally don't like the result of that, but I am confident that the decision on how often they manage their ban list is made by a profits-driven formula. Someone asked, what are the things above my head? These show most recent interactions on the stream. So G-Arc was our most recent follower. MTG Wiki with the 21 months, they're the most recent subscriber. And then HR Beck was the most recent person to cheer bits in chat.
The entire forest is in awe.
Okay, so I could Soul Shatter Wrenn, or I could drop a Lolth and then plan to attack Wrenn with spiders. I think I like the attack with spiders plan. Nah, I think it'll probably be longer than that, Gengar. I actually think getting Vintage Cube on Magic Arena is probably not that far off realistically, whereas getting things like Modern and Legacy are much further off. Hasbro announced that Q2 year-over-year Wizards doubled their profits from 2020 to 2021. Yes, exactly that. They're very savvy from the business perspective. And that's something that a lot of people have a hard time pulling apart, right? Like disconnecting this decision doesn't make sense from I don't like this decision. Chat, they missed the hidden flavor text on binding. Oh, chat, they mixed the binding flavor text. Oh, baby. Ow, baby. And I think I want to kill Wrenn rather than play Chariot here. Watsy doesn't make medical supplies. They doubled profits during a pandemic. They aren't dumb. Yeah. Mood. Woohoo! Oh, man. Savor the flavor. Listen, we've all been there, okay? In fact, this very day, I made a mistake like that. Was like, nope, we're just taking a mulligan on the match. For all intents and purposes, binding is often a two-step saga. When the third step is relevant, though, good golly, is it juicy. What was I saying, though? I mean, I don't know. That was like 3 hours ago. You know how many times I still forget Narset, partner of fun and compassion? Narset, partner of fun and compassion. That's an A+ name right there. Partner of fun and compassion. I think Green White Company seems really good right now, Pierogi. I'm not surprised to hear you're doing well with it. If you're in the subs Discord server, Pierogi, could you post your current list in the historic channel for me? I wouldn't mind visiting that archetype here on stream sometime soon. Awesome, thank you. All right, a 5-drop's a pretty decent draw here. Means we can slam this next turn off the Rootcoil Creeper. And if they kill Rootcoil, we can play Esika's Chariot, which is nice. I guess if they pass with mana up, maybe we're supposed to Chariot to play around Jawari Disruption. The fact that they burned a Prismari command before we play Chariot's also pretty decent for us. Okay, since they are tapped out, we'll definitely just YOLO the Desert Doom here. Interesting that we elected to kill Rootcoil there, as opposed to having like 2 red spells to kill this. They have like a Dragonfire with a Desert Dune of their own. Ah, Fading Hope, sure. That's fine. That's fine. You didn't want dessert the first time. No, I insist. Have dessert. Thank you for admitting that, Ruru. Like I said, I think there's so many legitimate things that you can be critical of when it comes to Wizards, that like having an overreact like that, and like you're far from the only person to overreact like that. Like the comments like what you made there are not uncommon in the Magic community, that like those kind of overreactions kind of diminish the legitimate criticisms that people leverage at times. Honestly, Beck, the more I'm playing this, the more fine it feels. And like, Esika's Chariot's a hell of a drug. It kind of picks the deck up on its back and carries it somewhat consistently. I believe Morrow mentioned in an article that they considered the Mystical Archives incredibly successful. They had also mentioned they didn't have them planned for any of the upcoming sets in the short term, but I would be very surprised if we didn't get another Mystical Archives like thing in a future set once they have time to get it back into their designs again. Okay, well, there's some epiphanies in our future here, chat. Oh shit, what up? Alright, confirmed Alrund's Epiphany. You love to see it, chat. Things you love to see. It. The old cheeky unnatural growth. Goodbye, friend. Goodbye, friend. Leave 2 binding, 2 Soul Shatter in. Maybe I'd rather have binding than Soul Shatter, just because this is one we can storm into, and it like ramps us in a pinch too. I want some ways to kill their Ashmouth dragons post board. Yes, yeah. So in paper, this you can see their exile cards at the end of the game is a holdover from paper boomer days, because at the end of the game, your opponent has to show you their hidden cards to prove they weren't cheating. This was actually a big problem with the morph mechanic back in the day, where people would like play out morph creatures as 2/2s, and then like they'd scoop their cards up really quickly at the end of the game because they were cheating putting lands into play as 3-mana 2/2s. For the 29 months, Ace, welcome back. Captain Wasabe, thanks for the follow. I thought that was a refollow. Oh, it wasn't. I'm wrong. Maybe it was? He had a previous message from June. I think we mulligan this, huh? This doesn't have any interaction or acceleration in it. Seems good. So we go tapped into green into Rootcoil. Yeah, accelerant, counterspell, extra threat. He says before getting Jawari disruptions. Alright, I would like lands for like my next 2 to 3 draws, please. Okay. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, lemon on a square. Take my hands. We're divided, I swear, by 0. Thank you for the sub. So that's 22 months, almost positive. Welcome back. You changed your usual lizard on a chair and it messed up my sing-along. I gotta keep you on your toes, champ. One more indeed. Thank you for the 11 months, Rufio. Welcome back. Yikes. All right. Untapped land here. It's binding this battle. I think the battle's been lost, fam. I think the battle's been lost. Hey, thanks for the over 2 years, Sojourner. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm gonna just go to game 3 here. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have showed up the Epiphany. What happens if someone scoops all the cards before you can check if they were cheating or not? You call a judge and they'll get a game loss. I just lost on turn 2 in Historic. How does that happen in the current format? Commiserate with us. Share your plight. Oh yeah, probably some kind of scale up combo deck. Excellent spell to come rolling off the top. He says before getting spell pierced. Imagine cheating in a children's card game. Thanks for the quarter of a year, Neo.
Mighty.
Demon Bolt, okay. I mean, to be fair, Wizards is like pretty notoriously lenient on cheaters. Like the penalties people would get for cheating in games of Paper Magic historically are like pretty low. It's like a slap on the wrist in a few years you get to come back and cheat again. Alex Burton CD got lifetime the second or third time around, right? It's the same punishment for taking pictures of butt cracks at events. That is exactly true. It's true. It's true, you know.
Show you what happens.
Feels like a different lifetime, Jack.
Do what I did.
Don't mix up. I assume you mean Todd Stevens. Todd Anderson's a decent person from my understanding and all my interactions with him. Todd Stevens is the sexual predator I assume you're referring to, who I believe he was banned. His Magic Arena account was banned at the very least. That's why he doesn't stream that anymore. Yes, Todd Stevens rebranded himself and streams Runeterra now, I believe. For people that aren't familiar with that person and the terrible things that they did from years ago, Google them. Would be my answer to you. For the follow, Fearbowski.
Miss me.
Any land that makes blue's a decent draw here, obviously. So like we're in a spot where most lands are good draws and most spells are good draws. Okay, nice. It just resolved instantly too, which you love to see it.
They prepare for war.
Oh, I should have attacked with the Tangled Florahedron, huh? Yeah, if Wrenn lives, they probably find us a blue source next turn, which is nice. We could see Epiphany attack Wrenn for 4 though, and then they die. I have no plans to play Modern the Gathering at this time. Where Modern has shaken out to post Modern Horizons 2 doesn't seem great. I believe it was a Pro Tour that Watanabe had marked their Tron lands at. Not a Worlds, but it's kind of splitting hairs. Opponent. Okay. Back in the day, listen, it was pre-COVID. Chat. My daughter, who was born in the middle of COVID, is now almost 17 months old. Anything that happened before COVID is like an ancient memory from a different era. Haley starts in the toddler room at daycare next week, chat. This is her last week in the baby room. She's gonna be in with toddlers next week, chat. Gosh, chat. Normally I'd feel bad doing what we're doing here, but our opponent's also playing Alrund's Epiphany, so honestly this couldn't have happened to a nicer person. Yeah, they got their comeuppance. How's it feel? Did you have fun? It was fun for me. The best thing about playing against team vents is no matter what happens, you don't have to feel bad about it. Yeah, Factor Fiction. Right about the time that reports of COVID were coming out of China, and we didn't really fully understand what was going on with it, nor know that a full-on global pandemic was coming. Sorry, global pandemic is technically redundant. Pandemic implies global. This was fine. I don't know. This deck is just like a kind of medium. It's just kind of clunky. I think the best way to summarize decks like this, and I don't think there's really anything you could do to meaningfully change it, is that like decks like this have this problem where you simultaneously have too much mana and not enough mana. And to illustrate what I mean by this is we have 24 lands in this deck, but past those 24 lands, we also have 11 2-mana accelerants, right? So our deck effectively has 35 pieces of mana in it. And you look at our curve and how expensive it is to try and really leverage the power of Storm the Festival, and you see that like playing these accelerants probably isn't optional. Like maybe there's a world where you try and build a variation of this where like these are cheap interaction instead of acceleration, and maybe that helps some of your clunkiness, but overall, while I think this deck is fine, you could definitely win games with it if you love it, I don't think this deck sits in a very particular spot in terms of its power level in the format. I think you're a little bit like, obviously we just beat that last Epiphany deck and it's not unwinnable, but I think on average you're a little bit smaller than what the other Epiphany decks are doing, and you're not able to consistently build up against other creature decks without them getting under you.